Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're tackling a really massive challenge in the enterprise AI space. We're going to break down exactly how to take Google Cloud's Open Knowledge Format, or OKF for short, and transform it from a pretty basic bare-bones file convention into a rigorously governed enterprise asset. Something that actually drives real business value.
To really wrap our heads around this, let's anchor ourselves to a core thesis from John Cachet, the creator of the Integrated Process Excellence model. He says simply, process first, tools second. Now, I know that sounds obvious, right? But when you're dealing with these massive complex AI data structures, it's absolutely vital, and honestly, it's dangerously overlooked by a lot of teams.
So, we've got a lot of ground to cover. We'll start by meeting the open knowledge format, then dive into the unsolved governance problem, introduce the IPE framework, dig into data architecture and quality, and finally, look at some ready-made industry concept libraries. Let's just jump right in.
All right, Section 1. Let's meet the Open Knowledge Format, often referred to as the LLM Wiki pattern.
So what actually is OKF? At its core, it's a vendor-neutral, markdown-based convention for packaging up your organizational knowledge. We're talking things like your runbooks, your data schemas, all of that. But here's the revolutionary part. Both AI agents and human workers can read the exact same file natively. There's no complex translation layer, no massive proprietary databases to maintain. The AI simply traverses standard Markdown and YAML files entirely on its own. It's like a giant, easily readable puzzle.
And the absolute craziest thing about it, the minimalism. There is literally only one required field across the entire specification, and that is the file type. Think of OKF like a beautifully designed brand new filing cabinet. Google gives you the drawers, but the only label you are actually forced to use is what kind of document it is. So yes, it's incredibly lightweight, but it also means you are entirely on the hook for organizing the whole shebang.
Which brings us to Section 2, the unsolved governance problem, and this concept of silent degradation in the enterprise.
Because if you think about it, it really begs the question, what happens when this bundle goes stale? If OKF is just the filing cabinet, what happens to your AI agent's decision-making when the office manager completely forgets to throw out the outdated papers or update broken links? Well, OKF actually tolerates broken links by design. But for an enterprise AI that's running your daily operations, stale info isn't just a minor glitch. It's a recipe for total disaster.
If you don't have a solid framework, you're going to hit 4 massive gaps. First, concept selection, meaning you're either under-documenting critical steps or over-documenting total noise. Second is front matter discipline, where optional tags just turn into a chaotic mess. Third is ownership, which leads to that silent degradation we just talked about. And finally, change management, because let's be real, a Markdown file on its own doesn't actually change human behavior. Keep in mind, Google explicitly notes that OKF defines structure, but they deliberately left governance wide open for producers to figure out.
And right here is where we draw the line in the sand. OKF solves the packaging problem. It is the tool. Integrated Process Excellence, or IPE, solves the content governance problem. It's the process. Elegant packaging is fantastic, for sure, but you absolutely need a robust methodology to ensure the content inside actually drives value.
This pivots us perfectly into Section 3. Enter the IPE framework, a 6-step governance layer.
This deployment framework maps seamlessly onto the OKF lifecycle. Step 1 establishes ownership before a single word is even typed out. Step 2 defines what actually deserves to be an OKF concept in the first place. Step 3 converts it into Markdown. Step 4 builds the navigation for the AI. Step 5 applies measurement controls to detect any kind of drift. And finally, Step 6 drives continuous improvement, ensuring regular audits happen until a concept is officially retired.
It all boils down to this one simple, powerful mantra. Data plus process equals AI ROI. Deploying a shiny, elegant new file format won't save your bottom line unless you couple that data with rigorous process discipline. Without process, you're really just organizing your bad data at a much faster speed.
Moving right along to Section 4, let's get a little bit into the technical weeds here on data architecture and quality, specifically governing that front matter.
Remember how I mentioned OKF pretty much leaves all those front matter tags entirely up to you? Yeah. Well, instead of letting teams just invent random, person-specific tags on the fly, IPE uses a causal architecture. We call it KIV, KPV, and KOV. That's key input variables, key process variables, and key output variables. With this in place, your AI agent can actually filter concepts by input or outcome rather than just relying on wild free text guesses.
Just look at how beautifully this maps out. Watch how standard OKF fields completely transform into a unified control plan for both AI and human operators. The OKF type becomes specific process hierarchy levels. Title and description become a standardized summary. Tags become our KIV-KPV-KOV classification. The timestamp is no longer just when Bob saved the file on a Tuesday, it's a deliberate, scheduled review date. And resource links straight back to your system of record, like your ERP or QMS. The concept file and your control plan literally become the exact same thing.
So how on earth do you maintain all this quality? Say hello to SMEA, Success Mode and Effects Analysis. Think of it as a strict quality gate scored on benefit, occurrence, and mitigation to identify high-risk concepts and load-bearing crosslinks. By running this during Step 6 of the framework, you completely prevent reactive cleanup. You aren't just sitting around waiting for the AI to hallucinate, you're actively ensuring your most critical knowledge bundles never ever go stale.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 5, Ready-Made Industry Concept Libraries, and how we solve the dreaded blank page problem. Let's be real. Staring at a totally empty OKF directory is intimidating. It's tough to know where to start. That's exactly why IP packs exist. These are sector-specific process intelligence libraries that have all the governance already built in. So if you're in pharmaceuticals or plastics or steel manufacturing, you don't have to start from scratch. You get a pre-populated, fully compliant bundle right out of the gate on day one. The real genius here, though, it's how perfectly these packs match the underlying tech. They are organized into a super strict 1.0, 1.1, and 1.1.1 hierarchy, which just drops effortlessly into the OKF directory structure. Area 1.0 becomes your root directory, activity 1.1 becomes your index grouping, and element 1.1.1 becomes the markdown concept document itself. It's a completely seamless translation.
At the end of the day, IPE provides that absolutely crucial governance layer that makes the OKF format worth adopting in the first place. You don't have to choose between Google's elegant structure and doing the grueling hard work of governance. IPE services brings them perfectly together, whether you're just dipping your toes in with a readiness assessment or running a full-blown pilot cycle.
As you look toward your own enterprise AI deployment, remember that structure alone won't save you. OKF builds an incredible foundation, sure, but the real question is, will your organization actually build the governance? Definitely keep that in mind as you evaluate your own data structures moving forward. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, stay curious and stay focused.